then in the 7th century, then there is a Dharma king Trisundeten, who is the emanation of Manjushri, that also looking into the history, then wants to bring Dharma. So at that time, then he invited this Acharya Shantarakshita, the great Bodhisattva, the abbot of the Nalanda University, to Tibet, and then he established the all the starting from the Sutrayana, Vinaya Sutra, and so forth. But then he started building the Samya monastery and so many kind of problem. And then at that time, that Acharya Shantarakshita prophesied, that we should invite the great tantric master Guru Padmasambhava. And that way, how Guru Padmasambhava came to Tibet, and then they started building the Samya monastery, the first monastery in Tibet. And then in that there are so many departments. In one, that what is called translation department, in which all the Buddha's teaching of like 103 or 108 volumes of that kind of teaching, and then the like all the commentaries written by Indian scholars like Nagarjuna, Chandrakirti, and then Acharya Shandadeva, and Asanga, and so forth. Total almost like 240 and more volumes. All those, everything, whatever existing in India, just kind of translated into kind of Tibet, with the great Indian scholars and the Tibetan kind of translator like Lochem Berutana, Kawa Petse, Chorulu Jenten, and so forth, that translated. And that way, how Buddhism just completely flourished all over kind of Tibet. And at that time, there is only just Buddhism in Tibet. There is no like Nyingma, Sakya, Kagyu, Kilu, 4 sects of the Tibetan is not existing. At that time, it is only just kind of Buddhism. So that is how that Buddhism came to just Tibet. And then in the 12th century, then one great master known as Marpa Choglote, who was also become a great translator, who traveled to India, more to the Kashmir side of India, northern part, and then he also translated whole bunch of kind of new tantra. And that when just came to Tibet, then it is from that, then it is called like the old translation, and then the new translation. And that in that way, then the old one then called Nyingma, from that Guru Padmasambhava, Acharya Shantarakshita, Dharma King Trisundeten, from that tradition, just till now, what we are following is called the Nyingma, the ancient school. After this, Lotawa, this Rinchen Sambo, another translator, and according to Lotawa, the translator, then from that before translated is called Nyingma, and later translated is called new translation. And that way, from Marpa Choglote, as a great master, like including like Milarepa and whole bunch, those who kind of follow that tradition, then it is called Kajiba, because they concentrate so much on really meditation practice. Then that Dharma which is continuously flourishing in Tibet, then there happened one Sakya great master known as Kon Kunjok Gyalpo. So he established another temple, kind of monastery, and then all those who just kind of follow him, then that called kind of Sakya tradition. And then that again just continue to follow, and then just about 600 years before, then there happened this great master, this Kilugba's head, known as Chotonga Pachembo. And he is also very, very great master, very, just learned and, very great scholar. So then he established the new, like, kind of center or temple, what is called, kind of Kanden. And then all his followers are called, kind of Kilugbas. So that way, how these, kind of like four sects of the Tibetan Buddhism. In this way, how it is just kind of like a came into exist. Even though before that there say in the Shangshung that there is a kind of like a dharma and culture and writing Tibetan scripts according to the Pombos, the modern Pombos, they also have kind of explanation. That is how this came into like kind of exist. So in one way it is same Buddhism, but because of master, then these kind of four sects that which you kind of hear and know these days, kind of that what it is. But in the whole complete teaching, there is no difference. Sutra, Tantra, like Sakyapas, kind of like a Lamde, that explains same thing in Nyingmas, like for instance, the what's Kunsan Lame Shelung, that like Padu Rinpoche's, my perfect teacher, that the whole complete practice. And then this Gelugpas, kind of Lamde Chemo, that what Atisha wrote, and on that the like Tsongkhapa wrote a very extensive commission, commentary on kind of three levels of practice, which is called Kibusum Gilamgir, but the three persons kind of like a practice, and so forth. Those teaching, the essence and the everything directly coming from Buddha, and that what it is kind of flourish, that there is no difference. Then from that, then individual kind of like a lineage, that which looks like kind of separate, but in reality it is same kind of Buddhism, whatever it is flourish in China, or kind of like in Southeast Asia, or even in Taiwan, and now in these days what is flourishing all over the world, including Western countries, Europe, everywhere, and that is the same kind of teaching. So anyway, then in Nyingma there are 6 mother monasteries, like just Shijin, Dzogchen, Kato, Peiyu, Minduling, Torcheta, what is kind of 6 main mother monastery, even though there are slight difference of recognition, and then their branch that flourish. In that same way, in the Sakya, Kaji, and Kiluk, that kind of anyway Dharma flourish in Tibet in a very extensively, where it says that Dharma flourished in Tibet like a sunshine. And how Guru Pamasambhava kind of like taught in India, similar like in Tibet, just all the Vajrayana teachings, even that which has been not kind of find in just India, where the Atisha in the 12th century, when he came to Tibet, and when he see some kind of library, he said, oh, just Tibet have all special kind of tantric texts, that which even that could not find in kind of like India, and it is just because of kind of Guru Pamasambhava, how all those kind of teachings were kind of given, and that the same kind of the Vajrayana teaching, that with all this lineage till to like each one of our root teacher, that how it is been transmitted, and how of all those practitioners just practice and attain liberation and realization and so forth. It is just kind of like countless of them. So that what it is, the kind of like a very condensed kind of history, how that Buddhism came to Tibet and how it is kind of flourish, and till now like Nyingma, in generally the head of the Nyingma, before it was His Holiness Tunju Rinpoche, later then His Holiness Dengku Khyentse Rinpoche, then our Holiness Penno Rinpoche, and then Tushik Rinpoche, this Miling Tije Rinpoche, and then Tushik Rinpoche. Now that Talung Rinpoche, all this, when the head one pass away, then another just follow up. And similarly, in Kaju, as mostly just kind of like His Holiness Karmapa, and then also, Kaju have individuals, kind of like sects that like Dukjin Rinpoche and so forth. And then Sakya, now Sakya Tinzin and Sakya Takti, who are the heads. And then in Kiluba, just Kanden Tiba and successor Changte Cheche and Sharte Cheche, like those. So, just how Buddha passed away, then the Tembe Terabdun, the successor for the Buddha happened. Similar in that way, just till now, we have a whole complete lineage all the way to the Buddha, and many of these inner tantric teachings all the way to the Buddha Samana the primordial Buddha, the 5 Dhyani Buddha, Vajrasattva, and so forth, like Garab Dorje and Shri Singha and so forth, whole complete lineage. So it is just pure lineage and authentic kind of lineage, and that the true teachings of Buddha, how it has been flourished from India to Tibet, and that which follow even these days, that what we have. So that way we should kind of like understand, and then just as I said earlier, just examine, study, and then you follow. If it is true, then you can follow. If it is not true, you don't have to follow it. So then now this modern world, that how Buddhism flourished all over the world, like many great masters kind of like travel around, including that His Holiness Dalai Lama, that from 1980s, then kind of like Dalai Lama himself practicing that Buddhism, specifically what is the bodhicitta, compassion, loving kindness, and then the bodhicitta, the essence of the Buddhism, and that how Dalai Lama just kind of like kind of teach all over the world, including each and every individual, kind of Tibetan Buddhist kind of like teachers, the head of the teachers, and then many other, just the Rinpoches, Khenpos, Tugus, Lamas, kind of like traveled, and through which that, like even in the West, like in the 1960s, that the Tardan Rinpoche, and then the Trongpa Rinpoche, and that they were in 1960s, in the United States, and then later, this His Holiness Karmapa also traveled, and then Our Holiness, the Tunju Rinpoche also traveled. Then Holiness Penu Rinpoche in 1984 just traveled, first time in the States. And that way now in just in America and Canada, that Buddhism has been kind of like flourishing, not just only as a kind of Buddhist practice, but mainly that how they see in Buddhism, whatever it has been taught, it just everything makes sense according to the relative truth, relative reality. Not only that, these meditations, and that now the modern, many of these scientists, they were also got so involved and interested, including many great doctors and philosophers, that they say, through this Buddhist kind of practice of meditation, how it helps kind of to relax one's mind and to experience inner peace, inner joy, and also can heal the kind of sick people when they relax and do meditation and this kind of deity practice of mantras, that there are they experience so much benefit. And scientists also have examined so many, kind of practitioners, how it makes difference in their brain system, brain functioning. When you have a very compassion, loving and peaceful, then brain functioning is very peaceful, calm. When you have, hatred, anger, kind of afflictive emotion, brain functioning also very disturbed. So that they proved that the Buddhism is now even need in the modern world. So that way there are all these Dharma centers and interested and flourishing all over the, kind of like even America, Canada, Europe, just everywhere. Now, of course, in the Asian country, as where it has been just flourishing since, kind of long time back. Now, within 5-10 minutes, I'm sure I will finish it. You all are waiting, oh, when he is going to stop, I'm just hungry, we have to go to eat. So now, like how Buddhism has flourished, just in the Southeast Asia, all the countries where long time back it has been flourishing, kind of like very, just wide. But then later just some kind of declines happen in many other, kind of countries. For instance, like, kind of Taiwan that you have, kind of like a original, kind of Dharma, the Buddhism, in Taiwan. Many great, kind of Chinese masters from maybe China, from Taiwan, kind of Israel, that where you, kind of study, understand and follow those, kind of Chinese masters even today, these days, who are just kind of like existing and transmitting and built so many temples, kind of like a, whole transmission, which is, kind of very great. And then later, maybe in 19, kind of like a 60s, 70s, then slowly, Tibetan great masters also, came to, Taiwan, and just then it started this, Tibetan Buddhism. Those who wants to follow, and then according to that, started following the Tibetan Buddhism. Where all the, kind of great masters, Khenpos and Rinpoches, Tugus, Lamas, so many just came and they started giving all those, empowerments, and then, some, all the pujas and prayers and kind of practices that which you all like it, kind of so much. And now that as a, follower of Buddha, that how we should do understand our, kind of like practice, our, kind of Dharma, and that part which is, kind of like a, just have everybody responsible. It is not just only these, kind of like a teachers and gurus and lamas and Khenpos and Rinpoches, have only responsible. It is not like that. We all are following the Buddha's teaching that because we want to liberate from the suffering of samsara and wants to attain enlightenment, just to benefit all sentient beings. That what it is, the whole complete purpose and teaching of, kind of Buddha. So in that way, I more or less this time, maybe like, first time, even though 91 I came one time, just only visit, for 1 week, and then went back to Singapore because Our Holiness Venerable sent me to Singapore to set up center, 91, and then need to get visa, so I went out here. So after that, I haven't just come here. I hear all the time, oh, just in Taiwan, so much, kind of Dharma is flourishing, so many teachers, so many gurus. So I feel just joyful. Dharma is need to flourish. Now in this modern world, how much problem, how much warfare, how much disaster, how much kind of like a disturbance in the world, so much of hatred and anger. So that only can help through this, Dharma practice. Practicing compassion, loving kindness, caring for all other, and then study Dharma and do those prayers, practice, and then gain more knowledge how to engage into real practice, including meditation. So for that reason, all the Buddhist centers, Buddhist masters and Buddhist students that have to cooperate and work kind of together, not just only kind of like a just group, but how to study well, how to understand the Dharma, how to practice, how to just follow it properly, so that one can have that purification, liberation, enlightenment, that even just for this lifetime also, if you follow those kind of practice, how much benefit is there, and then even in the next lifetime, and ultimately, just for kind of enlightenment. So that way, all the center masters, center followers just have to kind of like be very harmonious and cooperate, and then try to understand each other, and then kind of like have a mutual understanding how we can kind of like follow this practice and path kind of like properly, no matter whatever the world may say, because in the world all sorts of things are existing. There is no way that everything can become all the time peaceful, because sentient beings are with all this afflictive emotion. So, however, that just we need to kind of understand and cooperate, and then follow these practices. So, based on that, our Khenrinpoche is also here, that who is part of this kind of like association, try to kind of like establish Buddhism and Buddhist kind of like flourishing, working to just help kind of like everybody. So we just follow Buddha's teaching and respect just all each other, and also we should respect just in the world rest of other kind of religion, that whether it is Christian or Judaism or Hinduism or Sikhism or Muslim or kind of Taoism or just whatever, that everybody has their own right to follow their own religion and faith. So that way we just respect all other kind of whoever they follow, and then we do our own kind of whatever you follow, the Dharma, the spiritual Buddhism teaching, what you receive from your master, and then kind of follow, and then support. And even we could not help and benefit too much, but we don't create any problem to anybody. We don't harm anybody. We just kind of like follow the Buddha's teaching of peaceful, that what is known as kind of non-violence, and that way one can also just feel very joyful, happy, kind of in this lifetime, and then in the next lifetime also just there will be very good karmic result. And then if you are serious about practice, then according to Ati Yoga, one can also liberate in one lifetime. So I also wish and pray that just all the Dharma flourish all over, and all the teachers and practitioners, everybody be kind of harmonious and respectful to each other, and all the centers. So that way I also pray and wish and have a just happy New Year. Thank you.
阿弥陀佛，我是贡嘎仁波切，是台湾藏传佛教佛法网络电视台 的会员，希望大家未来护持这个网络电视台。阿弥陀佛。